How are you guys doing? Good? Can I get some hand claps or something? All right. All right, last week we had a really, really great show. And I know tonight's going to be the same. So who better to give us that show than our very own D.A. Hurth?
Come on and give it up. You can do better than that tonight. Welcome to the Bountiful Harvest Show, where we are bountifully blessed beyond belief, and you can believe that or not. We are here in the great city of Decatur, Alabama, where it's greater in Decatur. Want to welcome all of our guests tonight. Come on and give it up for the LRM band tonight. All right, wonderful. Come on and give it up tonight. In this wonderful audience, you've got to make some noise for yourself here tonight. Come on, make some noise for yourselves tonight. Awesome, awesome. This is the 11th day of May, and we are still trying to get winter behind us for some reason. I don't know what it is, but seems like this year, you know, summer is slow coming. But I don't know about you. I'm not really in any hurry for those 90 and 100-degree days where it's sweltering hot in the South. There are wonderful things that I love about the South, but the heat is not one of them. Listen, we had an exciting show last week on our premiere show, Make a Joyful Noise, and I'm sure that you haven't forgotten our awesome guest that was here that brought us information that just surpasses all what we could have expected. But what can I say about last week that will not be topped tonight in our safe, productive summer? Let me hear it for our safe, productive summer. And here live tonight, we have on our panel some gentlemen that will really open our eyes, if we open our ears tonight, to hear some of the things that they are going to share with us that will help you, whether you're young or whether you're old. Just wherever you are in life, we're going to say some things in here tonight that is just going to be helpful to you somewhere in your life. And I'm just excited to bring them up. I want to take time to thank all of our sponsors tonight, because we got some great sponsors, and some people walked away from here last week. They walked away with money. They walked away with gifts. They walked away with entrees and appetizers, you know, if nothing more. Wow. Yeah. So you were able to go away from here, and this is what Bountiful Harvest is all about also. It's where finally I can come, because this is a church studio, and instead of giving something out, I can take something away. I don't know, I may not get far with this, but you know, finally a place where I can come in and it's something put in my hand, and I just want that to just play forward, and I want that to just be shared among many. But I want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors that make that happen for us, and we'll give them by name as we go farther in our production tonight, and want you to get prepared next week also, so that I can let you know early that I guess next week is coming to us from Atlanta, Georgia, and he is Rick Flo. Amen. That's on next week. It's been known as to the younger generation and to ourselves, he's known as the Beat Snatcher. And Rick is a gentleman that has broken through the music genre and introduced to us something that is more digestible to all ages as it relates to all of the stigmas that's associated with rap music. And he has been very instrumental in the city of Atlanta with helping young men get on the right track that was headed into the industry all down the wrong way. So you want to stay tuned next week to meet us here. But let me go with our first guest tonight on this stage. I bring to this stage tonight for the Bountiful Harvest, Mr. Bruce Wayne Jones. Wow. Man, exciting, exciting. Now, already I guess Bruce is, man, I don't know what to expect next because he already asked, where did I get the wing from?
That's right.
Not very many people know that. But listen, I try to do my homework because I want to bring the best, but I'll be asked, I hope I don't have to pay for that later, but I'll ask to be excused for it later. Yes, listen, tonight Mr. Jones is coming to us, and he is currently the director of youth services here in Decatur, Alabama, where he has been serving as a director since 1994. Amen. And yes. Now this is what I'm understanding now, Bruce. That was there a program such as Decatur Youth Services in place where you moved into a program that was already in place, or were you the very first director for that program?
I was the very first director of Decatur Youth Services. I think 1993, 92, they were having a lot of problems with gangs and all that kind of things. And I think Mayor Deuce was the mayor at that time, and he put together a task force. And through that task force, they wanted to look at what were some ways they could make the city safer. Mm-hmm. And through that task force and through the recommendations from the task force, they recommended more police officers and a department to work with just at-risk youth. And so that's where youth services was first given birth. And I was actually not the first person hired. They actually had hired a guy by the name of Leon Douglas, former Alabama basketball star, Detroit Pistons, who lived in Tampa at the time. But whatever reason, he chose not to take the job, and I was the next person that they was going to select. So since he didn't take it, they chose me, and I always claimed the job anyway. It was supposed to have been mine.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right. And listen, I'm not going to hold it against you now because you played for the Steelers.
I did.
Because I am Oakland Raiders, and that's back during the day, and I'm not going to hold that against you. Oakland Raiders. Listen, even if they don't do well, I always got the 49ers kind of,
Okay. Everybody's got to fall back.
Somebody's got to fall back. Even when they went to Los Angeles. Yeah, but I am. And Bruce certainly has a very extensive area of training and at some long lengths. Now, the scope of the program for Decatur Youth Services, is it for only at-risk youth?
No, we serve any kid who wants to be a part of our programs because we're city Decatur funded, local government, so we can't turn anyone away. Our primary focus is at-risk youth because that's what the city wanted us to focus on, because that's where the problem was coming from, the kids who were at risk. So the majority of our programs are geared towards providing services or activities that will help to change the lives of an at-risk youth and their families.
Yes.
So that is our target group, but anyone who wants to participate in our programs are more than welcome to participate.
So income is not...
Income becomes, the majority of our program are going to be income-based first, meaning that we will try to serve that kid that has low income first. Okay, depending on the program. Like, for an example, right now, we're gearing up for our summer youth employment. So we're looking for kids 14 and 15-year-old to place them on a work site during the summer. Well, we're going to have kids who are going to come from all socioeconomic levels, but we will look to try to make sure we identify those low-income kids first, and then if we have some openings after that, then we'll put any kid who, depending on where the income is not necessarily an issue.
I understand. Now, is there a number, by example, how many positions or how many jobs on an average do you have, during the summer months?
Last year we were able to employ 120 kids.
Wow, 120 kids.
Yeah. Now, this year we're only going to be able to hire 100 because we pay them $375 for the summer, meaning that, and this is a stipend. This is not a salary. They don't get paid every week. They have to commit to working 120 hours, 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, and through that for 6 weeks, and that totals 120 hours. If they complete their 120 hours, then they'll get a $375 stipend last year. This year we increased it to $400 because we've been at $375 for many, many years. So we've been getting a lot of complaints about when y'all going to take it up. So we took it up. So now, but because we took it up, we had to reduce the number unless we can go out and find some additional funds to help pay for the extra 20. But we're going to go with 100 kids. We're going to pay them $400. But they have to complete the program. I mean, and I know Mr. Varner is one of your guests tonight. We place a lot of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club, and they help with the supervision of the kids. They help with just the day-to-day operations of the club, and we've been partnering with them for many, many years. And there's been times when kids have worked like 110 hours, and for whatever reason they got, I don't say fired because it's a training program, but because of their behavior or didn't show or whatever, they were terminated. And they don't get the money.
They don't get the money.
Got to complete the program.
Even if they're days away, they have to complete the program.
They sign a contract. Them and their parents sign a contract saying that we're going to get 120 hours because we want to teach them responsibility. We want to teach them accountability. We want them to show up to work on time, dress appropriately, respect your supervisors. We want you to respect your coworkers. It's the whole gamut. We spent a whole day training them before we sent them out on every aspect.
Go to a job site.
Wow. So there's nothing that they're going to encounter that they haven't gone through the training, whatever. So, and we let them know up front that if you don't complete it, you don't get the stipend. So, out of last year we had 120 kids. Out of those 120 kids, I think it maybe 2 of them didn't complete the program. So listen, those good odds.
That's good odds. That's good percentage.
Yeah, that's good percentage.
Listen, I want to ask this question: Does it take more today as opposed to our younger days to get youth involved in the community? And during the day, well, we didn't go back to where we had to go to work, but work is more an option today. They can choose to work. Mm-hmm. Does it really take a lot to get a child actually active and working in the community? Is it a challenge there?
It depends. If you're talking about a paying position, it depends on the age of the kid because child labor law says the kid has to be 14 and up in order to go to work and get paid. Now, and they can only work a certain amount of hours during the summertime, and during the school years they can only work a certain amount of hours. 16 and up, they can work more hours and different things. But because of that, it becomes difficult. Now, if you're just talking about a kid having
service.
Now, if you're talking about a kid doing community service or just being active, volunteering or whatever, it's more of a challenge now because kids have more distractions. When I say distractions, they have more things at home to keep them occupied.
Right.
Facebook, Twitter, Game Boy, Nintendo,
running up the utility,
all that stuff. Yes, so they rather do things like that necessarily than go out and work. And you one of the things that surprised me now, and you hear so much, if you tell a kid about doing community service or volunteering, I ain't working for free.
Right.
Like, this is training. I mean, this is getting you ready. And they don't understand about building up a resume. They don't understand that those things go to help you in the long run.
Volunteer service carries a lot of weight on a resume.
Exactly. And people are getting to know you, and those people become your referrals. They can talk about, well, yeah, this kid did volunteer work with us, and they did an excellent job, so that helped them. They don't quite understand a lot of that. So, it is hard sometimes trying to get them involved in the community, whether it's community service or volunteering, but there are still many kids who will do it, and they do well in it. So, I mean, and I have to be careful because when we talk, I never say never and all. I say some and most sometimes,
right?
Because all the kids are not that way.
So when it comes now, and the youth that you get involved with and that you work with, are you able to identify youth that have the leadership qualities, like during as you start to process them into various programs? Can you kind of look and say, this is leadership quality?
Okay, I think for the most part you can identify kids who have leadership potential, and unfortunately many of those kids don't recognize it. And the saddest thing about that is that many kids won't rise to the top because they're afraid of what their peers are going to say.
Wow.
They're afraid of being identified as a goody two-shoe or identified as who you think you are, who you trying to act like. and I won't even say who they always try to say you trying to act like.
Right.
But they always want to say you trying to act like you somebody else. So kids sometimes through that pressure will just fit into the crowd, will just, be like everybody else instead of really rising to the top.
Abandon all of the skills and the talents and the gifts that they may have.
So, and the one thing we were talking about with the guys in the back, if you don't have some parents in your home to push and encourage that child, to tell them who they are and to let them know that they have these abilities and these talents, then a lot of kids will just don't reach their full potential because they can't handle the pressure coming from their peers of doing those.
So things. They need a good support system at home.
A young
for
person,
leadership. To really just push them. Not that they're pushing them into anything specific, but you're saying that until you just really get the director, the programs, you identify this person, see that they have the leadership potential, but until they really get that at home, you're not going to get as much as you could.
It's hard for them sometimes to go that extra mile when they're not getting it at home.
Right.
And what we tell the parents is that we are in partnership with you. We're not doing it ourselves. We can't do it ourselves because the kid is going to spend more time with you than us. So we have to make sure that the parent understands we're going to do our part while we have the kid, but you have to do your part when the kids are at home. Unfortunately, many parents now think that I can just put my kid somewhere and then that's going to be the fix-all. No, we're not the fix-all. We're just a part of the equation to help your child. And once those parents do understand that, those kids end up doing pretty well because the parents understand the partnership. We understand the partnership, and then the kid, he's caught in the middle. He or she can't help but to understand the partnership.
Line up, man. It's called
That's
line
right.
up.
Yeah.
How much cooperation do you get from parents of the participating youth?
I would say for many of our programs, right now I'm more disappointed in our staff than I am the parents because we have really been very, very successful in getting parents involved in a lot of our programs. We will have a parenting program for our tutoring program, and we would have cars. We didn't even have enough places to park our cars because there were so many parents show up. We would do a event where we have all our programs, then we'll have the parents to come and because we'll do awards and we'll talk about the programs and talk about the kids and just make that a big event. And we would have so many parents there, but my staff been sort of they've abandoned that mission now. So I'm a little bit disappointed because we haven't had one of those this year. But when we were having them, the parent support was awesome. And I was bragging on the parents. I let them know, man, I appreciate you guys being here because, we need you. So I'm not going to knock them right now because from what we were doing, we were getting good parent support. And I think it's on us to ask our parents to come and be a part of it. If we don't ask them, then they may not ever come, some of them. But when we ask them and we have an event for them to come, they showed up.
Right. Well, I tell you, I hope your staff's looking and listening tonight. The bar has been raised.
Yeah.
If y'all don't want a position that's available down there at Decatur Youth Services, y'all, you better get busy. Listen, I want to talk about a couple of programs. And because, man, I could go on. This is just some exciting stuff. But there are two programs in particular that I want you to just, if you could just give me kind of a brief summary on them. And the one is Fathers as Stars program, and the other is Girls to Women.
Yeah. Well, the Father as Stars program has actually changed now. It was Father as Stars because many years ago there was a big push for the fatherhood initiative, absentee dads.
Yes.
Fathers being involved, fathers paying their child support. Well, that has changed now to parenting. We have what is called a parenting program now because we have almost as many women that are in the parenting program now as there were men because what the court system is saying that those fathers was having to be a part of the program because they wasn't paying their child support and they weren't involved in their children. Well, now, if neither parent is involved with that child and that child is living with a grandparent or aunt or in the system, that female also has to pay child support and be a part of the program. So,
I heard that.
So we and we all know that many kids live in the homes with grandparents and aunts and foster care.
Right.
And for many years, the female wasn't responsible for paying child support, but that has all changed now. So now, if neither parent has custody of that child, both parents have to pay child support. So now we call it parenting because we have females and males in it. So it's basically teaching parenting skills, helping them get jobs, helping them doing bonding activities, support groups, helping them to get to a place where they can support their children both financially, emotionally, and spiritually in every other way. And that's what that program is all about. And we get support from the court system. A lot of the parents are referred from the court system for that
Excellent.
program.
That's awesome. Man, 2 awesome programs. That's just great. For the absent there. Listen, Bruce, I'm going to we're going to be joined here tonight by some other gentlemen that have more information. And I just want to tell you here and let it be known that, man, your commitment to this is actually it's known. I can see it here in this community, and because my sons, as you said earlier, you saw one of my sons and you identified him. You didn't know that was my son, but now each time he see you, he's going to remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of like from the old day too.
Yeah,
you know, you go somewhere and you know who their parents are, and you got to be on your best behavior. We need more of that.
Hey, listen, I tell parents, listen, if there's a kid out there and I know the parent, and if I see him doing something, I'm a snitch.
Yeah.
I'm a A1 snitch. You know, kids have this problem with snitching. I'm a A1 snitch. I'll go back and tell their parents as fast as I can get there.
I want you to know. And look, I'm from the old school. Man, if you have to dust him up a little bit, he's going to get dusted again when he get home. I want to give it up tonight. Give it up tonight for Mr. Bruce Jones. Come on, you can do better than that. Amen. Let's see. All right, listen, come on and give me something, because I want to bring the next person to the stage tonight. I want to bring to this stage here at Bountiful Harvest tonight. Joining me now will be Sergeant Mike Cowart. Now these are, I learned tonight that I'm kind of like the new kid on the block for my whole panel tonight, because as I started to make introduction, all of these men are well acquainted with one another. They have worked together, and I have joining me now Sergeant Mike Cowart, 27-year veteran of the Decatur Police Department. 27 years. He is also currently serving as the director of Decatur City Community Resource Divisions. And your office is?
Our office is located in the East Acres Housing Project.
East Acres Housing Project, amen. And they're still, you know, when I came out to your office, it says police substation, but once you get inside, I could feel that this is more a resource center than just a police substation. Yeah.
We're trying to be a resource to the community there. We offer several programs for the neighborhood there. We do a lot of work with Mr. Jones, and I want to congratulate Bruce. I've seen a lot of positive results from the kids he's worked with over my years.
Now, I've learned also that you work under and operate under initiatives that are regulated by Department of Homeland Security. Is that correct?
It is. We're actually attached to the Homeland Security Division of the Police Department. And many people don't understand exactly. They think Homeland Security, they see the federal government, and they're getting involved. And we actually take it to a different level. We do have an attachment with the federal government that gives us resources to use, gives us, you know, availability of information that we couldn't have gotten before. But we actually take our Homeland Security to actual homeland. We're worried about securing your individual home, making the people in the city of Decatur safe.
That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now, from ground zero, and this is, I'm saying Decatur now, from the point of view, you work with non-criminal issues in a community, as a community resource division. So when you come in contact with something, it may not as of yet become just criminal activity. And my question is this: so you have the issues that come in and they're non-criminal, but they have the potential of becoming criminal issues. With your years of experience, do you think that we have a better handle on crime prevention
we're seeing crime prevention more. We realize that if we can prevent something from happening, we have a much better outcome than responding to an incident after it occurred. First 15 years I spent as a police officer, we were not interested particularly in customer service per se. And that all changed in the mid to late 90s. We started understanding that, we are a customer-based division. Just because I'm not in the retail business, I still serve someone. Mm-hmm. Our cars say protect and serve on them, and we're a service-based entity. And so we look for that. We look for input from the public. We try to talk to the community now about going in, and that's one of the things we do. When we go into a neighborhood, it's not necessarily these are our rules that we want to enforce on you. We want to know, what does this neighborhood want? What are you willing to tolerate from your neighbors?
That's interesting. That's awesome. Yeah, and man, that's powerful. I'm thinking now, you say it's more like we're into customers, which is the residents, and you have to be, customer service. Not like Walmart now. You can't, don't think of customer service like Walmart, because you say customer service, everybody's ready to bring something back. But you are there to assist them and aid them in ways that you were not before.
Well, and it is almost to a degree like Walmart. We do where now you can't bring your product back to us for an exchange, but if you're not satisfied with the service you receive, you should be able to complain about it.
Now, as the population increases in any city, America, as population increases, crime increases also. That's a fact. That's the way that it goes. But some residents in Decatur who want to have more, and we're not really big in industry. We have some great industry here, but I know myself and others, when we bring in, we want to be able to have more to do than just go out and eat, But now the downside of that is that as we grow population, as industry come in, then crime rate is going to rise also. So how do we get a balance there? My question clearly, for us who want it to grow and more people to come in, more industry to come in, what can the individual do to help keep crime down as the city grows in populace?
Personally, I think the way we do that is we have to keep our personal values. Our moral values and, the ethical values we have. Yes, as you get more people, your crime will increase because these people who come from other areas, they expect this is what we were allowed to do there. Well, if your neighborhood still, you want new people in your neighborhood, but they need to, this is our value system. This is Decatur, Alabama. This is how we want to live. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to do. If you want you're expecting a certain quality of life in your neighborhood, and that's what we want to be able to help people do.
So like we were told at home, when you have guests come over your house, you're responsible for your room.
That's it exactly. As we bring it, you're responsible for the people come in. As people transfer in here from other places, that's the same thing they have to learn. We're responsible for you. We're going to show you how we expect you to act. If I don't act like a decent person, I can't expect anybody that comes in and look at me to act like a decent person.
Okay, so that's good. That's good stuff. So it's clear that we have a standard that we have set, and that's what we want others who come in to kind of comply with the standards that have already been preset. Now that brings me to this. You have programs, one program in particular that's called the Neighborhood Watch.
Yes, sir.
Tell us more about that.
We still encourage Neighborhood Watch in the city of Decatur, but we try to look at it in a little different aspect than what many other communities do. We're not into Neighborhood Watch as much as putting citizens on the street, walking around your neighborhood every night, seeing what's going on. We're trying to turn neighborhoods back into neighborhoods. In the 70s, we started building subdivisions instead of building neighborhoods.
Right.
And that's when we lost. We quit building front porches on houses. We don't sit on our front porches anymore. That's what we're encouraging people to do. Become a neighborhood again. Know your neighbors. We'll start a neighborhood watch in your community if you want one, and we'll help you do it. But what we teach you to do is to know your neighbors. Know who lives next door to you. Know who lives on both sides of you. Know who lives across the street from you. You know their habits. You know when they come and go. I, as a police officer, can ride through your neighborhood 4 or 5 times a day, but I do not know what is out of the ordinary in your neighborhood.
Ordinary, right. And you know, we got to take some of the responsibility here. You know, we're in a day and time that people are not as friendly as they once were. Again, this is a Southern standard. You wave, somebody come by and you wave. You don't know them. You know, you get guests. You don't know them. Why are you waving at them? We don't know them. We do that in the South. We just wave. And if they come back by, we wave again. And we know people in the South. But now people feel unsafe. You know, someone new comes in the neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood I live in, 4 of the neighbors came and welcomed us and introduced themselves. And I thought that was just really awesome. But there are some neighborhoods where you just don't feel safe. You know, someone moves in and they just don't want to be bothered. So, and I was talking with you about this earlier. The Neighborhood Watch kind of helped to offset that by you invite everyone in the neighborhood.
That's exactly what we want. And it goes back to where your neighbors come and met you. It accomplished it. It made you feel welcome coming into the neighborhood, yes. But it also, your neighbors now knew who you were.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel more comfortable with you being there because they now have established a one-on-one contact with you. You're not just some person down the street that we really don't know what's going on with. I talk to you, I know who you are. You know, they probably found out what you do for a living. It makes them a little more comfortable with you. Like I said, it's just all about building that neighborhood relationship.
Right. That's awesome. Now, this was something that was totally new to me, and I'm excited to say this tonight because I may not be the only one who don't know this, but the city of Decatur, the police department, sheriff department, joint corporation somehow, and you can explain. You actually have what's called a security survey for individual residents.
Yes, sir. We at the police department, one of the things that's handled through the Community Resource Division, this is one of the resources that we are to the community, is individuals can contact us. We will come to your house, walk around your house with you, and do a security assessment, just letting you know. And what our security assessment does, we tell you, you know, you need a better lock on this window, or this window doesn't lock anymore. You know, your sliding glass door doesn't work anymore. You need to put blinds. It would be a good place to have an outside light. You know, you need to put a latch on your gate. Kind of things to secure. You know, we just talked to you about making your home a safer environment, making it less likely that a criminal will want to target you. That's all that you do if you want to prevent crime in your own house, you make the criminal want to go somewhere else to do the crime.
Make them want to go somewhere else. This is not where you want to stop tonight. You know, yeah, this is not. Yeah, and that's good because people are paying for this service from alarm companies. And they'll come in and do a survey and assessment and tell you what you need to do. But you're telling me that this is a free service to a resident.
You pay for this service already. You pay for the police department. Any service you get from the police department, you've already paid for. This is just something we offer. Like I said, we're glad to come out and do it. Just contact the Community Resource Unit. We'll set up a time to come out when it's convenient to the homeowner, look it over. Like I said, and we're not trying to sell anything, so there's there's nothing for us to push on you. We're going to come out and give you an honest survey.
Excellent. I want to try that. I want to do that. I want to know about all of my doors and windows because my last point is this is home intrusion. Never heard of before. I mean, that was something that was given to big cities. But are you seeing more and more home intrusions here in the city of Decatur?
We see home intrusions. They rise and fall. We have seen a few more in the recent months. It seems to be the new way of crime going. They target particular houses, and used to you worried about a burglar coming to your house while you were gone.
Exactly.
And at that, okay, they stole my property. Property can be replaced.
Yes.
Now people are coming into your home, and you cannot replace human lives, and you cannot replace injury. And so that is one of the things we try to beef up patrol. And this is another place where the Neighborhood Watch, the whole neighborhood concept comes in. Because you see people in your neighborhood that don't belong. You call and report it.
Exactly. 1010 16th Avenue Southeast.
1010 17th Avenue.
17th Avenue Southeast. That's in the East Acres division in Southeast Decatur.
Yes, sir.
And that's your office. And this is Sergeant Mike Cowart. You got to go by his office. You got to take time to know that he's there, all right? Listen, we're going to keep moving here tonight. Bring to the stage now my next guest. And it is certainly a privilege to have this man here. He and I, as I've said, we've been around the track more than one time. I want to bring to the stage tonight Elder Samuel King. Dr. Samuel King, come on to the stage tonight. Switch places.
Microphone.
I'm gonna get going. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Dr. Samuel King. And most of us know him. This is Samuel Timothy King. Most of us, I got these middle names down now. I already knew the Timothy. That wasn't new to me, all right? But this is Dr. Samuel King, and he is a native of Hamtramck, Michigan. And not many people know where that is, but I do.
It's an inner suburb of Detroit.
Yes, sir. Because I live between Shane and Pequot. Shane, and I lived on Pequot between Shane and I forgot. So Hamtramck was kind of in our backyard.
Yes,
so we were there. All of that's gone now. The most part of my old neighborhood there on Pequot is gone now. But you are the founder and the CEO of King James Communications, which is an alternative school of choice. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. All right. Now, what's the scope of your program, Elder King? What's the scope of your program?
Well,
and does it target any specific age group?
Now it does. In its originality, it was middle school and high school students who were unsuccessful or were expelled from public or private schools. They could come to our program for secondary education.
Yes.
I'm glad Mr. Jones is on the stage tonight. I was seen as the replacement for what he was doing in the community at that time. He was in Northwest Decatur, and he transitioned to where he is now. So my program has predominantly been operating out of Northwest Decatur. I did have one location at one time. I was on State Street in Southwest Decatur.
Yes.
But the past 5 years, we've catered to 17-year-olds and older.
Okay.
Because we went the adult education route and offered GEDs for those who were unsuccessful in public or private schools. With receiving a diploma, we offered them a GED, and so the age of our clients who could enroll was 17, because the state law said that they could not quit school until they were 17.
Okay.
Once it was 16, they could quit school and not go anymore, unless they were court ordered or something of that nature. But now the law is they have to remain in education until they're at least 17.
So you have to be at least 17 years old
To come to
your program. That's correct.
There are exceptions, and I let the superintendent of schools make that exception and recommend that individual to me if they're younger than age 17. I don't go to them, but they recommend them to come to me if they cannot be placed anywhere else.
So it's through referrals that you may
Yes.
get someone under 17. Elder King, you are shepherding the sheep, you're preaching the gospel, and socially helping individuals. What relationship do these three offices have? As a shepherd, as a minister, you're evangelizing, and then you come back and you help an individual just to work and to operate and be competitive, to be competitive in society. What's the commonality between those three areas?
Well, it takes revenue to run any program.
Okay.
And since my clients can come to my program tuition free, we don't charge a tuition fee for them to come. Mm-hmm. Then my ministerial duties is what brings revenue to the program so it could operate. And so I deposit my honorariums into the school program so that those students can come for free and get the education that they need.
That's awesome. That's quite a sacrifice.
It is.
Yeah, that's quite a sacrifice.
It was my mission. So, when it comes to a mission, you have to perform your mission. And this is our 14th year of doing this in Decatur. So
That's awesome. There is a quote that I read, and it says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Is that something that someone, is that your quote, or is that was something quoted about you?
That came to me when I lived in Detroit. I also owned a publications company in Michigan. And that came across my desk one day, and it just resonated with me. That so often we try to impress people as to who we are and what we have, but people are not interested. When people come to you with a problem, they're not interested in how much you know.
Right.
They are more interested in whether or not you care about what they have to deal with. So we keep that in mind, that when an individual comes to us, we're more concerned about how they feel and what they're going through, and a lot less about what we know and where we've been. And so it's not about us, it's actually about the people we serve.
That's awesome. Because, I mean, we could sit here and start, pointing on the wall at our achievements, and that means absolutely nothing to a person who is sitting across the desk, who has no job, has no education, and here you are, we're laid back in a chair. Of course, my office not that big; they're not going to be that impressed, but but they feel right at home. But at least, often, my point is your presence in the community has to really say mounds to children that are actually in that community. You care simply because you're there.
And I often look at Master Rhonda. I was at a real estate company last week, and I just picked up a book to get the pricing of homes in other places in Decatur. And I was just amazed that we have homes in Decatur that you can spend $500,000 for.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And then I looked at homes that are in the area where I live, and you can get them for pennies. So Jesus lived within the reach of the people that he was trying to serve. He didn't try to live some elaborate life somewhere and have people to come to him, but he actually went to where they were. And I think accessibility is very important, to whether it's ministry, whether it's helping youth, as the officer said, whether it's providing a service for the community. You have to be accessible to the people you try to serve.
Yes.
And that's why I live and work in my community, because I want to be accessible to the people that I serve.
And I want to ask you this. This is personal because I know you. Have you discovered a method to reach the least of men?
If I could, answer that or coin that, I would say yes. But without calling names, I mean, I go to the county jail on Saturdays to visit inmates, and I had to visit with someone who was out on bond and didn't follow the instructions and got back in, and they locked up again.
Okay.
And I say to myself, what's the answer to getting people to remain free, to become unattached to the judicial system?
Yes.
And I wish I had the answer, but if I had to mention what would help, it would be if we could get our younger generation to listen to us, just listen to instruction. That would be a start.
That's a start.
Because most of the time they don't think we know what we're talking about. We are either too old or we've been around too long, and they don't think we really know what we're talking about.
We're trying to rob them of something. So which comes first then? Telling an individual about the value of their soul or teaching them how to read a book?
Well, in our place is a combination of both, because we're faith-based. And, we read the Bible and we pray each day. We take care of the 5 core areas of academics, and we try to lead by example, so they will be able to become the productive men and women. Now, and I heard the discussion earlier, many of the young people that come to us, there is not a male figure living at the home where they live. So they are without that male image to guide them. You know, unlike I heard you talk about your parents. You know, my dad worked at Ford Motor Companies. When they were paying him $25 a week Ford Motor Company, $25 a week. Wow. You know, but he instilled in us that we had to work for a living. You know, we worked on cars, and I never forget. He had a Model A, and he told me to turn the crank in the front of it, while he get in there and start it. Mm-hmm. And I was just happy to turn the crank, but I forgot to turn the crank loose when it started.
Oh man!
and it threw me across the street.
And they wouldn't remember it. You know, there were no keys. That was just right. A crank. Elder King, this last thing that I want to mention tonight. Statistically, we have suffered with illiteracy in not only southern states, because based on some of depending on who's offering these findings, but West Virginia was an area, South Carolina was a state that was really kind of inundated by a high percentage of illiteracy. And based on what I found, that in the state of Alabama, 1900s, 35% of Alabamians was illiterate. 1950, it went down to 6.2, and then by 2003, and this is from the Institute of Education Science, estimated the state's illiteracy at about 15%. Now, how, based on your experience with working with them and those that may come in who suffer from illiteracy, how's that going to affect the economy and the stability of our city so that people can hear, when a person can't read?
Well, with the way technology has advanced today, a person has to be able to read and write and do arithmetic.
Yes.
They have to be able to do that. And I've shared, and along with Bruce, I've sit on the committees with the Decatur City Schools, and they're working on their 2020 strategic plan. Mm-hmm. And students have to be able to perform well at the levels that they are at when they get into a classroom. Mm-hmm. And what happens is if there are more students in a classroom than a teacher is able to deal with, that teacher may not be able to give attention that student needs, if he needs one-on-one. I give you, for instance, when a student comes to our program, there are 4 levels of the adult education TAPE testing that they have to take this entry test to determine what level they will operate on when they come to us.
Right.
And many of the students that have come to our program are operating on the first 2 levels. That's grade 1 to 6, and the next grade level is 7 to 8.
1 to 6.
And grade 7 to 8. Now, granted, many of them come to me that have left school. They left in the 10th and 11th and 12th grade, but they're reading on a 6th grade level. So, and it's gonna, and we talked about this when you invited me to come here. June 1st, all the GED programs in the state of Alabama will be teaching adult education at the 2nd year of college.
Say that again. I want you to say that again.
All the GED programs statewide, beginning June 1st,
yes,
will be teaching adult education classes at the 2nd year of college level.
Now, what does that mean to the person that's planning to go and get that GED? Make it clear to them.
You need to get in a GED program and be serious, and in the next 2 months, you need to pass.
Before June the 1st.
Right.
Because things are going to change.
They're going to change. It's already, and it's a nationwide change. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want people to think that this is just Alabama, but this is the entire United States is going to be teaching adult ed at the 2nd level of college.
Right.
So our young people have to be serious. I did a campaign last year in South Alabama where we actually went to the public schools and encouraged the juniors and seniors, do not quit. Stay here. You don't need to quit school to go to another program. Stay in school because this is important. Because if a student comes to me and they're at grade level 6 or 7, and the new test is at grade level 14, they're 7 years behind already.
7 years behind.
So it's going to be a challenge,
yeah,
you know.
It's gonna be.
And in the words of Judge Waters, we were at the Children Policy Council meeting last week. She says, I don't know what to expect now. You know, she said there's no way they're going to make this new level test. What they want them to do, just quit and drop out? And I said, well, it's just not Alabama. It's nationwide.
It's nationwide.
You know, and America is not number one in education worldwide. So we're competing with other nations. So we have to teach our students about the global economy.
Yes.
You know, not just Alabama, but
and that affects us here. And this is what I wanted to bring out. If we're expecting industry to see Decatur as being a good place to carry their business, they're going to look at, that's going to be one of the key things that they're going to look at is the level of education.
That's right.
What they actually will pull from to operate their companies, because big industries bring in some employees from areas, but they're going to depend on the majority of their workforce is going to be there in the city that they move to. So if we're looking for better paying jobs, we're going to have to really make education a priority in this city.
Absolutely.
Elder King, listen, thank you so much. I want to bring my last guest, if you don't mind, tonight. I want to bring to the stage here at Bountiful Harvest, Mr. David Varner. He is the CEO. Mr. David Varner, he is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of North Central Alabama. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. And Mr. Varner, I spoke with him, got in touch with him, and I had to apologize because he was like the last one on this list, and he was a must-have. It was like I must have the Boys and Girls Club because of all programs that we could name. Just how old is Boys and Girls Club of America?
Started in 1860.
1860. I don't know how many people knew that or not. Yeah. I mean, most people now associate it with Denzel Washington, you know, because, of course, he was...
He's a great leader.
Yes, he is a great leader.
And was a great club kid.
Yes, yes. And he was a club kid.
Oh, yes.
He was a club kid. And that's a long time to do anything, especially positive. And Boys and Girls Club, now how many sites do you have in the city of Decatur?
We've got 5 sites in Decatur and 1 in Lawrence County currently. And then we got some partnerships in the schools. So we try to do some programs. We're also big partners with Bruce. Bruce helps us out a lot, and we're looking at other ventures that we can partner together. You know, we look at it like it's not just about us. It's about the community. It's about the kids. The kids are number one, and that's the way we always got to look at it. If we're serving them, we got to put them out there.
Right.
We got to make them very important, which they are.
Exactly.
They're our future.
Now, did I understand you to say that you're about to become? You're going to be active in schools?
We were very active in schools at one time. We had a program in it was called Lightspan Program, which worked with kids that were struggling. Matter of fact, I, several years ago, about 10 years ago, was in the old Cortland High School when it was at its location.
Your stomping ground, isn't it? Cortland, Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, and I taught alongside with a teacher with the Lightspan program, and she worked with the kids that was in the LD, MD programs that most of them were on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade level. And we had great success that year. We had kids that actually graduated from high school and got a diploma.
Mm-hmm.
One kid came up 8 grade levels in that one year.
That's good.
That's
good.
and that's what it's about. It's not about me or you or Bruce or Sarge over here. It's about all of us working together and putting on.
What we need to get is if we can get one success story.
Right,
if we get one success story.
Work at them one at a time.
We get them one at a time. Yeah. Now, in the city of Decatur, you say there are how many sites again that are active?
We've got 5. We're actually in Morgan County Systems of Services, which is out on Highway 20.
Right.
It's a Boys and Girls Club as well, and it works with court-ordered children and school dropouts as well.
Okay. Now, everything's changing, and the old Boys and Girls Club, be it the 3rd Street unit or the Beach Street unit, and I didn't because I was in the county. I lived in the county part of Decatur, and you had in the city of Decatur, you go to the Boys and Girls Club. Of course, we could go, but we didn't have transportation to get way across town. Things have changed a little bit. Now, I noticed that there's more emphasis placed on a child's education now than it is just going in and shooting pool, playing basketball.
Right. We have social time with the kids and game time, but for instance, after school, our big emphasis, we have a program called Power Hour. Okay. And the kids are, after they unwind, been in school all day, we give them a little bit to get some energy going again and maybe a snack. And we sit them down and with either the staff or tutors or mentors that come in and do homework help. If they don't have homework, we ask them to read. Mm-hmm. We're big on reading now. We've been following 85 kids. We had permission from the parents on the report card for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, they were 45% of those 85 was on the A/B honor roll. Okay. Which is pretty good.
That's good.
So far this year, they're 82%.
That's good. And growing.
Same kid.
Same kid.
So we know that program's working. Mm-hmm. We also have all kind of character building, leadership skills. We have programs that Bruce and I are talking about, looking at it, getting they involved. In fact, we're going to try to offer Bruce all our programs, and hopefully he comes in our clubs and does some of his too.
Man, I pray things happen from right here on this.
Yeah, so
on this platform. Yeah,
it's exciting times. It's a big push nationwide with Boys and Girls clubs pushing graduation rate. We about a third of our kids are dropping out.
Yes,
and we don't need that. So that's a big push with us. We're trying to get them to attend regularly to the clubs. We've increased our average daily attendance in the last year by 25%. Okay. We're looking at trying to get more kids in. Just looking at various different avenues of what we can do to go out and reach more, get them in. Because once we get them in, we've got the programs to work with them.
To work with those kids.
Right.
Now, what is the Boys and Girls Club? And this is my last question, Mr. Varner. What is the Boys and Girls Club doing to attract kids in the community? We know you're visible, but what are you doing to attract children to your units?
We're trying to do a lot of outreach now for us, going out and maybe doing similar programs out in the community in various locations. We have partnered back with DYSA, which is a soccer league. We have a full-blown partnership with them and soccer going on in the clubs. Okay. We're looking at, hopefully in our partnership with Bruce, they do a wonderful program in boxing and basketball and all of that. Hopefully that will entice more of our children to be involved in that. So working together with many agencies, we're looking at, we all serve the same kids, including Dr. King.
Yes.
We all serve the same kids. Is that how can we all work together is to get them in those locations. And once you get them there, you got a captive audience.
That's right.
Then you got to make it fun for them.
Yes, you do.
You just can't be dull all the time.
That has to be.
Gotta make it fun.
That we can't take the fun out of growing up, you know. And I just wanted to pose, and then I'm going to take questions from the audience if there is anyone that have a question out there. But you know, we will agree here on this stage tonight that it still takes the whole tribe to raise one kid. You know, it takes the whole tribe. And I'm afraid that we are, as times are changing, we're moving away from one parent feeling a sense of responsibility for someone else's child. You know, and this is not just morals that we hold in the South or, you know, just southern states. Speak on that, Dr. King, from Hamtramck. You know, that's a northern city, you know. And I say as a kid, you know, I go down the street and, I was held just accountable down the street as I was back home. Was it that way in the larger cities there?
It was the same way. I mean, parents could get involved in disciplining other parents' children.
Yes.
But today, the court systems want to do all of the disciplinary, and it's taking disciplinary from the parent. I was out at Walmart. Most of us go there, and a parent told a kid he couldn't have something, and he fell out in the floor and got to screaming and kicking, you know, embarrassed the parent. And I said to myself, I was growing up and fell out in the floor. My mama told me I couldn't have something. Oh, brother, she would have whooped me right there on the floor in the store. You know, but we, you know, we live in a time now where, you know, you can't, the parent can't chastise their child. But, you know, to your question, yes, I mean, the community could help my parent with me.
Yes.
So, and I'm glad it was that way. You know, we had fewer juvenile detentions when I was growing up because, you know, when mom and daddy got through detention in you were okay.
Yeah, I guess my house didn't have corners because I never stood in one. I never stood in a corner, so I just take it to time. No time. My house had no corners because I never had the privilege to stand. Boy, how I would have loved, especially that day that my dad called me running away from school. If I just had a corner that day, life.